Hello and welcome to So Spicy Entertainment. I am Stetson,
And I'm Austin.
and today we will be doing a review of the Power Rangers movie. Some Go Power
Yes.
Rangers. So, um, it's good for us because you'll get two different perspectives. One from someone who hasn't really been involved with any of the Power Rangers franchise, and then someone who has been a longtime fan of the Power Rangers. So let's get into it. Um, so Austin, since
Yes.
this was your first time being involved with like Power Rangers, what was your initial take and thoughts on like Power Rangers the movie?
Yes. So, very briefly, as a child, every time Power Rangers came on, I'd always change the channel. I'd never wanted to watch it. And Stetson's like, "Oh, you have to go watch this movie." Okay, I'll go watch it. And I'm glad I did. Just like right off the bat, like after the first scene, I'm just like, "Oh my god, this is so good."
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, yes. Like, what I'm hearing, like, from my brother, he's like, yeah, longtime Power Rangers fans didn't think it was that good, or like, it doesn't compare to the original series or something like that. But for me, like, not having watched it, I'm like, wow. Just like being a film, like taking film classes, like from that standpoint as
Yeah.
well.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed like that first shot when he's driving in the car, and like the shot, it's like panning around
Yeah.
with the 21 Pilots song. 21 Pilots, pretty good, solid. Oh,
Oh my
oh,
goodness.
that's
Oh
okay.
my.
That's okay.
Okay. I have to call.
Um,
That's my girlfriend. I have to call right here. This is important.
this is important. Okay, so yes, um, just a really good story, really good characters, and just I really liked like the plot, I guess. The sequence of
Mhm.
events, and I like tried to guess what was happening and like what would happen next, but I couldn't.
Threw you for a loop there.
Yeah. So like a few of my favorite things were like I forgot his name already.
Which
Um,
the Blue Ranger,
the Blue Ranger, yes.
Billy Cranston.
Billy Cranston, yes, he's my favorite character. Like right off the bat, he's just like a charming little nerd,
Yeah.
charming little nerd. And I really liked the water scene when they're
Oh yeah.
going to. I don't know if it's called something, but when they're going there, and it's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. What do you think?
it
Like,
was.
yeah. What
Go
do you
ahead.
think about that? Like, how do you feel? Like,
I felt like, oh my god, um, I wish I could go to a place like this, and like it brought feelings of like that Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I don't know if you saw it. They flipped the
yeah.
ship.
Hmm.
I think it was at World's End.
Something
Um,
like that.
but yeah, I I'm really into sci-fi, so I didn't really think of Power Rangers being like a sci-fi movie, but it definitely
It's
is.
got like the aliens involvement. Yeah, it's like an alien thing.
Yeah, for sure. Um, my favorite thing, or another favorite thing, the whole movie was good and my favorite. But like towards the end, when the big gold guy,
Goldar.
he's just like Goldar, he's just like demolishing the whole town, kind of like Godzilla. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. It's funny destruction.
Yeah. Yeah. It just reminded me of that movie. This is the end, where
Oh,
that big like demon guy is like demolishing the town, but in this
didn't
instance,
see
he's
it.
like made of gold.
Didn't see it.
Oh, that's okay. Um, I thought the villain. What's her name?
Rita Repulsa.
Not good with names. Repulsa.
Yeah, Rita Repulsa.
Rita. Okay, Rita. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, she looked like Poison Ivy a little bit, like her outfit. like green and like very viney.
which makes
I was
sense,
like,
I
okay, I'm
guess,
into
because he
this.
was the former Green Ranger.
Oh, that makes sense. Yes, and I did notice. Speaking of colors, like you could tell which Power Ranger they were going to be by like the colors they were wearing.
Yep.
Like she was wearing like this pink like thing,
Yeah,
like
it's funny.
bra or something. I don't know.
Yeah, in the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I think like the director wanted each of the characters to wear their respective colors, like a superhero type of thing. So you
Mm,
also see that in like the TV show.
I see.
That's definitely a common theme.
Maybe maybe I'll have to start watching it or something. um, that's about it. I liked how they the sequence, like the training
Yeah.
sequence, like getting used to having these
Hmm.
powers. I had myself like, oh, if I were in their shoes, would I do the same thing?
Yeah.
All right, your turn.
My turn. So I thought it was a very good adaptation to Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So I think they did uh, a good job at um, catering to the older, people watching who are longtime fans of the series, as well as
Hmm.
trying to make it not too adult to cater to kids who they really want to get involved with the franchise as well. So I
Sure.
definitely think they did a good job at keeping some of like the original sort of cheesy horniness to it, but also giving it that serious aspect because it is like a serious superhero movie. Um,
Hmm.
and I thought the story with Rita Repulsa being the original Green Ranger. So for those of you who don't know, including I think you, Austin, like Rita Repulsa
Yes, I don't.
was not the original Green Ranger, but she had control
Oh.
of the Green Ranger power coin. Um, but I thought to incorporate like or how they did the story, they did a really good job at like setting up Rita Repulsa as the former Green Ranger and like setting it up for sequels in that aspect because that's basically saying, hey, there is another power coin, um, and it could go on in the next movie that there's going to be another Green Ranger who could potentially be the next villain, kind of thing. Um,
Oh.
but also, I thought just like the the sort of character development that they had in the story,
Hmm.
it was good for three of the characters, but
Oh, true.
yeah,
True.
and then it was just like so like for
Left
Jason,
off.
yeah, Jason, Kimberly, and Billy, it was really good. Like they
Hmm.
did a good job focusing on those three characters, and then for like Zach and Trini, the Black and Yellow Ranger, they were kind of just like, okay, these kids live in a quarry or they hang out in the quarry, you know. It's like
Yeah.
okay, but having said that, there's five main characters, and it's really hard
Yeah.
to really give them, you know, all equal sort of character development with still trying to get the story on track without being like too long of a
Sure.
movie. So I think they did a pretty good job with that. If anything, I think they could have lessened lessened the time they spent on character
The other
development.
three.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and like put more into like either them training and especially like them morphing because if you think about it, like the only time we see them actually like be Power Rangers was like maybe the last 30 or 20 minutes of the movie, and you don't really get
Sure.
like a whole like kind of like how a lot of superhero movies it's like they get their powers like in the beginning and then it shows them sort of like training with their powers and like then sort of becoming the hero we all knew they could be type of thing, but they kind of just like
Hmm.
rushed through that at the very end there, which it kind of bothered me. But I was like, since they're trying to fit so much into just like an hour and a half movie, you know, it's kind of you gotta keep that
Yeah.
balance in there. Um, And then their super suits, super cool. I loved them incorporating like alien technology while
Mhm.
keeping the traditional kind of Power Ranger, Mighty Morphin Power Ranger look. I think they did a really good job with that. Their Megazords or their Zords, because the Zords are just the individual,
Mhm.
and then the Megazord is
Yeah.
the robot. But yeah, they had really good swords. I'm One thing I was impressed with was that they didn't mention that. So Zack and Trini Zords are a mastodon and a saber-tooth tiger,
Mhm.
but they didn't mention like they made sure not to say those names or Zords because those two animals weren't around 65 million years ago.
Oh.
So there would have been a little disconnect there. But they did it. They definitely did a good job at like making a good choice and not like showing that discontinuity.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. Um, and then the only thing I was really kind of disappointed with was the Megazord transformation.
Mhm.
It was like like I know from the classic like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movies, they always showed the Zords coming together to form the Megazord. But in this one, it's kind of like they fell in the
They're in a
hole.
hole.
Yeah, they're in a hole, and then they come out as the Megazord, and it's like
Yeah.
it would have been cool, to see tank form and battle mode. So we didn't get both of them, just the battle mode, which was okay. Okay, it's okay. And the
Mhm.
Megazord looked pretty cool to me. I thought it looked pretty sick. I
Yeah.
wish it looked a little more like the original sort of Megazord, but I think the way they're taking it with like really emphasizing on like alien technology, it really kind of exemplified that. But overall, I thought it was a great movie, and I enjoyed it very much. Um, oh, before I forget,
Yes.
one thing I was afraid of when going into the movie was that there's going to be like overabundance of like Easter eggs and cameos and stuff, referring back to like the original Power Rangers, which
Mhm.
there were some of those, but it was a tasteful amount. It wasn't like Easter egg after Easter egg after Easter egg. It was just like, here's a line that may have been said a lot in the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I'm like, yes, that's good. And then maybe a reference here. I'm like, that's good.
Oh.
But it wasn't like, hey, here's one, another, here, have another. No, it was a very good, tasteful balance of Easter eggs.
Yeah. You know why they did that, right?
What do you mean?
You know why they only had so many Easter eggs?
Oh, no, I don't.
Because Easter's today, and they didn't want to ruin it.
Oh my goodness.
Have you seen Breakfast Club?
I have.
Okay, so my dad and I were talking afterwards, and we were like, when they were pitching the idea for Power Rangers, they were thinking, okay, think Breakfast Club plus superpowers.
Yeah, I get that with the whole detention thing.
Yeah,
Oh, and
yeah.
did you stay for the mid-credit scene?
No, mid credit. Wow, we
Oh
should have stayed like another minute.
yeah, you should have. Oh man, you missed it.
I
So
did.
yeah. Anyways, there's like okay, so they did a good job at setting it up for the sequel. So
Hmm.
in I'm just gonna start with the original Mighty Morphin. So in the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, like the main villain is Rita Repulsa, and she has the green power coin. Um, but she then, like later on, I think in the first season, she uh, selects her own ranger to take on the
Hmm.
powers of the Green Ranger. And so in the mid-credit scene, uh, it shows like they're in detention again, and
Okay.
then the professor is calling out names, and he says Tommy Oliver, which then shows uh, a green like Letterman's jacket on a chair, uh,
Whoa.
which Tommy Oliver was the original Green Ranger in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's really setting it up for them introducing
Whoa.
Jamie Oliver, the Green Ranger, in the next film.
Wow.
Yes, they did a good job at setting up that story. So, kind of what I'm predicting um, is that you know how there's like so now there's like what 21 seasons of Power Rangers and different Power Rangers now. So um, I'm predicting that. Also, before I get into that, I'm jumping ahead of myself here. So what I've
Hmm.
read is that they're setting this story up to be a six-movie franchise, sort of.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm thinking they're gonna go with like sort of introducing the Green Ranger for the second movie, and then for a third movie, maybe introducing Lord Zed, who is like the next big villain
Mm.
for the Power Rangers kind of thing. And then somehow introducing a White Ranger and sort of I don't know going into like uh sort of the next season of Power Rangers, which was Zeo after Mighty Morphin, and like
Hmm.
showing like a transfer of power to maybe new Rangers and showing them fighting like the Machine Empire, which is the main villains in that season. So I
Wow.
think how they're going to set it up is like keeping with like Zordon era of Power Rangers. So for those of you who don't know, Zordon era is kind of like the seasons that encapsulate like Zordon being there and being alive.
Hmm.
Um, so I think what they want to do is try and set up like you know how like Avengers is setting up this whole like Infinity War with the main bad guy being Thanos.
Yeah.
I think what Power Rangers needs to do and take a look at that and sort of like taking a whole bunch of movies and like trying to set up for a really big bad guy, either that being Zed or the Machine Empire. So
I see.
yeah,
Wow.
so I've been trying to do some homework on this, and I'm just that's just how into Power Rangers I am. I'm trying to figure out, all right, how are they gonna lay this out, and like what you know, I just want this franchise to be successful. I really want it to be success.
For sure. For sure.
Yes. But I
Nice.
know we got
Nice.
really into the lore there for a second. This is the movie review, and I think let's get back to
That'll be
that.
in future.
Yeah,
That'll be in
future.
future
Yes. Um,
episodes.
but all in all, what would you rate it? 10, like how many stars out of 10?
Oh, 10. To be fair,
Yeah,
because there's no 11.
yeah. All right.
And
I would rate
yourself?
this. I would rate this movie an 8.75 out of 10.
8.75.
Yes, a solid B plus. Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was a really enjoyable movie and everything, but there's definitely like there's always things that need to be worked on. But it was really fun.
Sure.
Longtime Power Rangers fan, loved it. Um, but I'm trying not to be too biased with my rating there. Uh, but
I see.
yeah,
Oh, I have
still
one more
really
thing to
good.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah, one more thing to say. So, in high school, there's a Kesha song.
yeah. Okay.
I don't know what song it was. Um, but my friend Kevin, he heard this remix by this artist, this rapper named Becky G,
Kichi.
and I was like, oh, it's a really cool song, it's a really good song. And so he every time I went to his house, he'd always be playing this song. And then it turns out I was watching the credits, and it said Becky G, and I was like, no. So Becky G was the Yellow Power Ranger, and just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I had to text him right away. I was like, guess what? She's the Power Ranger.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
Well, okay, folks. Hopefully, You go out and watch Power Rangers, and if not, definitely Redbox it, Netflix it, wherever it comes out. It's a really good movie, fun to
Mm-hmm.
watch, or family, or by yourself, maybe even a date night. But
Oh,
yeah, but please like, comment, subscribe. We really appreciate it, and we will see you in the next video.
see you
Bye.
next time. Bye.